Welcome, this is a recorded session of the Post-Quantum Cryptography Conference of the PKI Consortium. This conference would not have been possible without our sponsors, PQ Shield, SSL.com, Entrust, Keyfactor, HID Global, and the organizational support of the Post-Quantum Cryptography Working Group of the PKI Consortium, and in particular, Entrust, Keyfactor, and Logius. Would you like to join the PKI Consortium? Go to pkic.org/join, or contact us if you would like to become a sponsor.
Okay, everybody, we're going to get started. Thank you for joining this afternoon. My name is Phil Zachariah from the Keyfactor team, and I have the pleasure of introducing Giuseppe Bruno. Joining us from the Bank of Italy is Giuseppe Bruno, who brings a unique combination of economic expertise and quantum computing knowledge. His recent visit to the Institute of Quantum Computing at Waterloo underscores his commitment to understanding the intersection of finance and quantum technologies. Giuseppe, why don't you join us?
Rich. So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here. In this talk, I will show you the some technological experiment that we ran just a few months ago during the Italian presidency of the G7. So we had the idea to explore the consequences of development of quantum computing, and in particular the effect of quantum computing on the communication between financial institutions. The next, please. Okay, next. Again, right here. Yeah, here and next. Okay. Next. Okay, that's okay. Thank you. So this is a very simple picture where I show that when we have communication between customers or banks, usually we have this kind of messages which are transferred over the network, and of course we want to make sure that these messages do not go over in clear, but they are sort of blanketed some way so that no one see what is going on. And that's why we see these two lines, the red one where everything is clear, and the green one which has been sort of tunneled the information, and we don't see what they are saying. Okay, the next one. And here we, next again, we consider the problem, next. Right, the problem of defining a key which is common knowledge between two partners, and in particular we have this two phases. While in the first one we go for the encryption with this symmetric key, then we encrypt our messages, and once we are able to encrypt the channel, we can exchange the communication between the two partners. And here, the main point of the discussion and the main point of the experiment is that we want to make sure that this key, which is shared between the two parties, is known only by them and by no one else. So this is the main point that we want to raise the attention to everyone, and we want to see how we achieved this common knowledge with the present elements in the technological environment. Okay, let's move to the next one. Okay, next. And here I will show the three possible solutions available to thwart the quantum threat. So we have essentially three solutions. One is the quantum technology itself, and I have on your left the Charlie Bennett, physicist, which along with Brassard in 1984 established its first protocol, which is quantum resistant. It is based on communicating the information, preliminary information, on a quantum channel. Then from the quantum channel, they sift the final symmetric key that is shared between the two extreme parties, the two parties, and then it starts the standard communication on a classical channel. So this is the first possible solution. The second solution, which we have explored, is that one that I call the symmetric key establishment, where I establish a symmetric key by a logistic procedure between two parties who has random data that have been delivered at the beginning of the communication. And the final one, we have already heard a lot about this final solution, is the so-called mathematical solution and the learning with error technique. So we have three techniques. One which is essentially physical, the second one which is both mathematical and based on random number generation, and the final one which is completely mathematical. We have tested the three of them, but for our experience, willing to put in communication center which are very far from each other, we had to give up the quantum solution, because the quantum solution right now is available on Earth for 100, maybe 200 kilometers. We are talking about checking with satellite, but these are other solutions which are still going to move on, and so we have to check them. And the satellite solutions also are susceptible to weather conditions. So let's move on, please, to the next slide. Again, okay. And here I show just a very simple sketch of the way in which the learning with error procedure, which is just a mathematical procedure based on linear system solved on a modular lattice. We have been heard a lot by colleagues and NIST, by other people also, about this solution. And so I will not spend a lot in describing the technique, but it's important that we have two different solutions, two different, say, cards, one for encryption and the other for decryption, which is based on injection of random error and finding the solution which is closest to the original things. And this is just mathematical solution. Let's move to the second, the other slide, sorry. Right. Here, instead, I will describe the other technical solution, which is already available for long distances, and is the so-called distributed symmetric key encryption. Here we have two phases. On the first phases, all the participants submit for admission to the network, and with their submission, they receive a bunch of random data. So they receive, say, 100 megabytes of data that will be used kilobytes per kilobytes to establish communication to the different partners. Once the first phase is completed, the first phase is described in the picture which is on your left. Then we move to the picture on the right, where there are two people, two customers or two banks that want to communicate, and they build the shared key, just asking each one to each security hub the random data for communicating to the other partner. So Alice will ask information about Bob, Bob will ask information about Alice, and they will receive this data from each of the security hub. Then Alice and Bob will build their common key by XORing, or anyway by a simple Boolean operation, the common key. In this case, we have essentially, we do not rely on any trust by other single element, because even if one security hub is compromised, we can still recover a good shared key by considering the other security hub. And so that's why I've written just that there is no need to trust any single security hub. Okay, let's move to the. Okay, here is exactly the experiment that we ran, which show essentially two things. First of all, market technology readiness for these encryptors and key management entity that we will see, and the communication on a intercontinental scale, because we set up Amazon machine on the capital of the G7 countries, and on a full meshed way, and we were able to communicate between each one of this machine in a quantum safe fashion. And how did we build this quantum safe channel? We will see that in the next slide. Please, let's move to the next one. Okay, here we have different name of vendors for the encryptors, and we have Cisco, Fortinet, and Juniper, and different names for key management entity, and each one of them are using different algorithms for building and managing their key. In particular, Evolution Q and Quantum Exchange provide standard post-quantum cryptography methodology, while Quantum Bridge provides this distributed symmetric key encryption, which is the one that I described as a second example. With the other Evolution Q and Quantum Exchange, we can move, for example, from a Kyber 768 to a Kyber 1024, or to different algorithm which is hard coded into the key management entity. And an important thing to say is that we started building this setup right before NIST was releasing its final solution for the PQC method. That's why we have also different algorithms that are sort of less robust than the others. And the thing that we have, the experiment that we have already done to show interoperability at the market level, both, well, right now we have shown interoperability at the level of key management entity, because now we see that here we have a red line which is going from evolution Q on the left and evolution Q also on the right. Now if we go on to the next slide, okay, we see that this key now is taken from the quantum bridge channel and goes to this encryptor. Then we move to the third. Next slide, please. Okay, and here is the last one where we see that we are able to use the keys that are delivered by this quantum exchange KME, key management entity. Here, why do I say that here we have cryptoagility somehow built into this infrastructure? Because if we want to stick with just one provider, for example, evolution Q, we have all the range of cryptographic and hybridization keys provided by evolution Q that can talk with its peer element on the right with these two encryptors, which can be any one of the three, but they have to be the same right now. And the channel which we set up between each one of the G7 capitals is an 8784 IKE version 2 channel, IPsec channel we have there. And so by changing at this time by hand the commands to modify the source of the key on the encryptor, we are able to pick any one of these three solutions to get the final key. The other things that we are testing, but that is not completely implemented, if we may move to the next slide. Again. Okay, yes, this is the final experiment that we are working on, and the purpose of this experiment is that we want to make sure that when all the equipment are using open protocols, open and standardized protocols, public institutions are not subject to vendor locking. Because here in this experiment, we want to show that it is possible to communicate between each one of the key management entity with each one of the other key management entity by setting a right IPsec channel between these two different machines. And this is the final goal, to provide both interoperability, because interoperability in our experiment is a possibility to interoperate one piece of hardware with another one, and cryptoagility, which means a possibility to change algorithm even without changing the equipment, but just using the range of algorithms that are provided by each one of the key management entity. And this is essentially the end of my presentation, right? And so I am very happy to try to answer to all your questions.
Thank you, Giuseppe. Any questions? Go ahead, sir. One second, sir.
Sorry. Okay. Scott. Scott Fleur Cisco Systems. If you want, this is not a question. If you want to understand more about why you're seeing interoperability problems, you may want to see me after the meeting.
Oh, yes, okay.
Go ahead.
Just very light question. So we were talking, yesterday's presentation of Nish said that they are also working on a document on trying to define cryptoagility. And the question I got to you is: would you also include in the definition of cryptoagility not being vendor locked, or is it not necessary to be cryptoagile?
Well, for cryptoagility, that's my view. I think the possibility to change the algorithm, to change the cryptographic tools quickly. That's my feeling for cryptoagility. Of course, having the possibility to change vendor is more a requirement being a public institution. I think also the other institution, like financial institution, wants to make sure that they don't fall into the net that they cannot change easily from one vendor to the other. Thank you very much.
Chris, how about some questions from the online audience?
We do have a question from the online audience, and the question is, do you have an opinion on pattern-devoid cryptography, where a transmitter can achieve quantum security by drowning messages in sufficient amounts of randomness, which the recipient then disregards?
Could you please repeat the question? Sorry.
Certainly. I'm not sure I understand it either, but do you have an opinion on pattern-devoid cryptography, where the transmitter can achieve quantum security by drowning messages in a sufficient amount of randomness?
Okay. Well, in particular, in the DS key algorithm, the key that I build is completely random, because it is even if I didn't ran randomness test, and on this I would be eager to do that in the near future, but I heard that there are procedures. But even without those, the keys that are generated at the level of DS key, they are just standard random numbers which belong to this pre-shared random numbers. So those are completely random. And I think that is the answer for transmitting information encrypted with completely random keys.
Any other questions from the audience here? Chris, do we have any other questions online? Oh, go ahead.
So Giuseppe, the demonstration, how was it reacted? I mean, you were able to show some stuff. What are the next steps from the people you convinced that this wonderful stuff can happen? What questions do they ask, or are you just giving them? Is it now they're ready to tell their central bank tech people to do more? What are some outcomes?
Yeah, well, the first, I would say, important reaction is that few days after the meeting, the September meeting, there was a G7 cybersecurity expert group who published from the Federal Reserve, because the head, the semester was at Federal Reserve. They said that the quantum post-quantum migration is a must for financial institution and payment institution. So this is a first step. I do understand that might be not enough, but is a first step.
How do you ascertain whether the randomness that you're using is good enough, so sufficient, when we know that true randomized numbers are always something that we're pursuing and haven't really accomplished?
Two way. The first one is waiting for a standard about evaluating quantum randomness. The second one is that also I used, for example, for one of the three procedure, I used the quantum random number generator. So just plug it as a USB thing into the machine, and so I generated this values with the QRNG. That is not an answer, because you might say, why are you sure that the QRNG is a white noise, completely white noise? That, of course, something that, I mean, I know that the QRNG are much wider than any other quantum random number generator, but still a step forward, but it's not the final one.
So work in progress.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions?
Hello, no question, but I would like to comment on the last comment. There is a proven source of quantum randomness. It's called quantum origin from Quantinuum, and I recommend everyone look it up.
Thank you.
May I answer?
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm happy to hear that, but I would like to see something from I don't know, a standardization body, or you know. I mean, not saying that. Okay, thank you very much.
Giuseppe, thank you very much.
How do you get to a quantum-safe state? That depends on the current state of your digital security infrastructure, as well as your level of visibility, control, and automation over those systems. Check your level of preparedness with the Entrust Post-Quantum Readiness Assessment. Whether you're already on the path to quantum safe or just beginning your journey, Entrust can equip you with the right knowledge and solutions. There are many paths to a quantum-safe future. Secure yours by taking the Entrust Post-Quantum Readiness Assessment today.